What are we going to do next? Anyhow? That's a new song I have that I call Anyhow. Are we ready? Okay.
Oh, you don't want to end that one, do you? Now, if you thought that was Ronnie Tutt on drums, you'd be wrong. That was a drummer named Bob Lanning. Now, the reason Ronnie never played on this particular album, or in fact this February engagement of 1970 in Vegas, is because he had already signed a year's contract with the Andy Williams television show. And the reason why he did that is because Colonel Tom Parker never told them, or hadn't told any of the musicians, they'd be going back to Vegas in February after August 69. So he booked another engagement and he couldn't play. So Bob came in. Now Bob would be one of 9 drummers that was auditioned. But as soon as Bob came on, Elvis said, I think we found ourselves a drummer. Now the last time that Bob saw Elvis was in 1972. And he said Elvis felt somewhat a little bit sad for him because he'd realised that Bob had done such a great job at the February engagement, and he said he generally felt bad. But he said, don't worry Bob, I'll be calling you in the near future. Well, he never did, because that'd be the last time that Bob would see Elvis, which was in 72. Anyway, welcome back. As you can tell, look, I'm going to wind up the 1970, early 71 albums today with, of course, the classic Elvis on Stage from February 1970 engagement in Las Vegas, and actually released in July of 1970. Now this is probably the finest, in my opinion only, bear in mind, live album that Elvis ever did. Now what is unique about this album is that these were songs that Elvis had never recorded, and they were all covers. So these were songs that were current at the time, they were contemporary songs, and he's listening and he's thinking, yeah, I could do that on my live shows. And that's what he did. You know, and these are from new emerging singer-songwriters such as Tony Joe White, Polk Salad Annie, Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline, John Fogerty, which was Proud Mary, which you just heard, and boy, that's one hell of a track. And Joe South, who of course wrote Walk a Mile in My Shoes. Now of course this is the UK original, as I say, from July 1970. It still has the original hype sticker, which says it comes with a special insert. Now that special insert, which I will show you, I should have been a bit more prepared and got this out. But I will quickly show you, it comes on the orange standard label that we would see emerging from the late 60s through to the 70s, certainly here in the UK, or to the late 70s. And this is the poster that came with it. Now I'm sure lots of you know this poster. I don't actually think mine's ever been unfolded, but I will do it today for you. There you go, it's an image from Elvis from '68. So as you can tell, it's this is the time period that we're at. Okay, so we're from '68 going through to 1970, which we know are some of the finest years of Elvis' career. Behind me, I've got a lovely Japanese press. This is the original Japanese press. Sounds absolutely wonderful. But, as usual, I don't want to talk to you about those ones today, really. We want to talk about this 2013 release, Fun Follow That Dream. Absolutely one stonking album. Okay, it's not quite the same as the original because there are additional songs on here. Now, Felton Jarvis would record up to 9 shows, but these weren't complete shows from the February engagement. He would take various songs from each show and he would record songs such as Love Me Tender, Hound Dog. Why is he recording them? Because he doesn't know if he's going to have enough to do an album of new songs, so he's recording old songs in the hope that if all goes wrong, he can still make a concert-themed album, and that's why he's doing it. But, of course, we know on stage it's purely just new songs, cover songs that Elvis, they really appeal to him. He's using contemporary artists, and to be honest, he's bettering their originals, in my opinion. As you can see, we follow the normal FTD theme of it being a gatefold. And once again, it's recorded at Abbey Road Studios, limited 2 edition LP, 180 grams as normal, February 1970. Exactly the same styling as the original, but of course an alternate shot here of Elvis, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. Backside of the cover, look at that. You know, I wouldn't have been dissatisfied if that had been on the front. I think that's such an atmospheric shot, superb. And then we go through the various different songs, and these are run from Long Tall Sally, Don't Cry Daddy, Kentucky Rain, Let It Be Me, which I think, you know, you're thinking about Elvis is taking an Everly Brothers song from the early 60s here, I think it's from 61, and he's making it sound contemporary, and he puts his own spin on it. And it's really, I would listen to it for the first time today for a long time from this album, and it's fantastic. I was going to start it as the opening track, but I normally like something upbeat, so anyway, just to let you know, that is one of my favourites. Walk a Mile in My Shoes, The Wonder of You. Now, of course, The Wonder of You, this was released in April of 1970, before the actual original album came out. And it was a great promotional single because it got to #1 in the UK and it sold over 1 million copies, and it was an absolute smash. As you can remember from my last video, it was a song by Ray Peterson. My brother told the story about Elvis going to Ray and asking if he could cover the song. And Ray says, "What are you talking about? You're Elvis Presley." And Elvis said, "Well, yeah, but you're Ray Peterson." That's class. And then we get on to side B, CC Rider, which is another great song that Elvis would open up his shows with. Now, CC Rider, what does it stand for? It stands for Circuit Country Preacher. Now, it was a black slang word or term that they would use to describe the preacher men, and I know Elvis loved that song. And he would, as I say, open up lots of 1970s concerts with that. Proud Mary, which of course by John Fogerty, which we've already heard, which Elvis takes it up another notch, in my opinion, from John Fogerty. Runaway. Now, this is the only track from the 1969 engagement. It does appear on the original album, so in fact that isn't from February 1970, that is from August 69. But as I say, a Del Shannon composition, and Elvis does a fantastic version of it. Now that almost made my opening song, but of course then I couldn't have done the tie-in with Bob and Ronnie. Walk a Mile in My Shoes, Release Me, Polk Salad Annie. Now Polk Salad Annie is going to be the featured track today. Rain, another take of Let It Be Me, I Can't Stop Loving You, another take of Walk a Mile in My Shoes, In the Ghetto, Side D, another version of The Wonder of You, obviously taken from different nights, Release Me and Let Me Love Again, a little bit of Engelbert. Another great version. Side D, The Wonder of You, as I've mentioned already, Polk Salad Annie, introduction, Suspicious Minds. Now Suspicious Minds, at the bit in the song where Elvis says shove it up your nose. Do you know the reason why that was included, or why he started to incorporate it into his live shows? From, in fact it started as early as '69. What actually happened is, when Elvis was doing that, he accidentally bumps the mic into his nose. And of course, he was a quick ad-libber. He would use that phrase, and then it would become a staple part of his live shows, certainly in the 70s, when he would often do it. And you can see it on video as well, because it's on, that's the way it is, the special edition one that came out. So that's the back side of the album, which is pretty cool. And then we get on to the inside of the album. Look at that. That is probably, you know, if that had been on the front, who would have cared? It's fantastic. And then we get into a brief scenario or a timeline of what Elvis is doing from as early as January 6, 1970, and then we end up in June. And then of course we're going through, we're talking about April, when the Colonel intentionally lets it be leaked out that that's the way it is in the pipeline. He then cancels it, and of course it then comes out later, typical of the Colonel, obviously for promotion. It's all good stuff, isn't it? And then obviously Roger Seam and Ernest Jorgensen have created this album yet again, but the album art this time is done by a guy called Paul Beauvoir. So it's not Roger Seaman, it's not Jimmy Carpenter, this is before Jimmy's involved, but once again, he hasn't let us down. It is an absolutely fantastic art display. In terms of sound, as I always talk to you about, this one sounds epic. It's one of those where you got to turn the sound up to get it to sound good, but it is kicking, and you heard it from the opening track. It is absolutely fantastic. As I've said, the track we are going to feature today will be Tony Joe White's Polk Salad Annie. Now I'm going to choose the one from, I'm going to pick the one from side D, which is 7 minutes and 56 seconds long. That's quite a lengthy version. Now I've not actually listened to it yet, but I'm going to put it on and see how it sounds, and we'll discover it together. So that will be coming up next. Thank you so much for all your support and your words of encouragement. This is a quick video I've had to do today before I start work, because I can't do my normal Thursday one. So hopefully we'll do another one over the weekend. So this is just a quick one I've done in the morning. It will take me some time to edit and find the appropriate pictures to go in timeline with what you're listening to. But thank you so much for the new subscribers and for lots of, as I say, great comments. Please subscribe. There'll be great content coming up soon. I'm working on another particular FTD, and then I'm going to give FTDs a break for a little while, and then we'll go on to something else. But thank you so much for your time, and once again, TCD, thank you.
Polk Salad.